Penshir Sangye Drubar Sho Chenan Soki Chonam La Changchu Bardu Dagni Katsuchi Daki Chunyen Gibe Sonam Ki Jola Penshir Sangye Drubar Sho Chenan Soki Chonam La Changchu Bardu Dagni Katsuchi Daki Chunyen Gibe Sonam Ki Dola Penshir Sangye Drubar Sho. Shmogity dogity. Shmogity dogity. Hang on just one sec. My honey's waking up.
Yeah, or like, his Dropbox account name or something. It would just be associated with the email address. What? If I shared with Dr. like our Dropbox, should I be able to see what email account is associated with it?
You guys ready?
Yes.
Okay. Brigitte has the plane. Sunam lach. Tena. Stretch it out. Yeah. Okay, cool. We've been discussing, well, first of all, we're in the mind-only school. We're in their presentation emptiness. We're in their, specifically in their presentation of emptiness of things as opposed to people, because there was a lot of overlap on the people, and that was pretty much covered already. And again, we did a cool thing at the China Soft Power program where we taught the flavors by teaching the gakchas. You know, we said, we did the two husbands, and we said if the wife walks in, if she's mind only, how she's thinking. If she's abhidharma, how she's thinking. And they did a nice job. They really got it. So now this is this thing where according to the perceiver and the perceived, the consciousness of blue, or the perception of blue and the blue are one ze, are same stuff. Okay? And the reason is a classic reason called Hlenjik Mikne. Say Hlenjik in the middle here, Mikne. And it's some very important thing that's been thrown around for many centuries, and no one's totally sure what it means. Okay? And I studied it when I was in Shenzhen, in the coffee shop, good pastries. That's what caused the current competition. And the best translation I can come up with is invariably found in conjunction. Okay? Hlenchik means in conjunction. Nge means definitely, right? So apparently this is this mind-only argument that if two things are invariably found in conjunction, meaning the perception of blue and the blue, then they must be of the same stuff. Okay, this is some classic debate or some classic thing, okay? And then Choni Lama says, look, this is hard. This idea is hard. And here's how and we see different people with different interpretations of it. But here's how Kedubje says it. And then Kedubje explains the in conjunction, the found, and the invariably. Okay, so, and that was the end of Utpala's. So we caught up on Utpala's text. We were behind by 2 terms, I think, and I'm really happy with it now. It's difficult, and it's deep, and it's going to be useful for people, I think. So anyway, that's the context where we are. Someone has said that blue mind-only school has said blue and the perception of blue are made of the same stuff because they are invariably found in conjunction. Okay? But so is oxygen. I don't know. Anyway, don't talk about that. Saturn? Yeah, that's true. Okay, so then come dear. By the way, this is always come dear. It's just an idiom, okay? Come dear. We don't say come dear. Come dear. It sounds like an M almost, come dear. And it's very common. Cup. And be careful not to say cup, which means needle. Like a woman's mind. What is it? Never mind. Yeah, okay. This is some great Chinese expression. Teach it to him. Okay. Not now. It's not politically correct, but it's true. Okay. When the accurate perception that's holding to blue looks at blue, okay, mikpa, when it looks at blue, yang, what confirms the pramana? What confirms the pramana? How can we prove that the pramana was there? Oh, well, there's rangrik, which is apperception, the ability of the mind to know itself in the same moment. Okay, so at the same time, there's this little guard in the back watching the watcher. It's the watcher of the watcher. Okay, rangrik is the watcher of the watcher. So the watcher is looking at blue, and the apperception is watching the looker at blue. It's looking at the looker of the blue. And that's how, and that the proof of that, according to these schools, is that later you can remember the blue. So if there had not been a watcher of the watcher, you could not have remembered the blue. You could not have remembered seeing the blue. And then they go into this barren hibernation and all this stuff. So, yeah, that's Shantideva, yeah, Master Shantideva. Yeah. Okay, so Rang Yongwa means itself, which experiences itself, meaning the watcher, which experiences the watcher, okay? Which experiences it, meaning who's experiencing the watcher? Who's looking at the looker of the blue? Okay? Oh, that's confirmed by the Rangrig. Yeah. According to them, the apperception. Okay, and it doesn't pass the waiter test. If you say apperception, they'll say, yeah, apperception, you too. I mean, they maybe 1 out of 1,000 people knows what apperception is. Okay, but it's the correct word. So anyway, and we don't. It's the ability of the mind to see itself. That's all. Okay. Mikbe kyap must. Okay, always does. Kyabla. Okay. Keep going. So he's going to have 2 kyabas.
문진 세맛 때 랑영웨 랑렉기 남믹베 세놈보 양 문진 세메 mikbe kyapao.
$20 for the num.
Space?
I'm safe. I'm safe. We should have a kickback program. If you take a guess, you got to give me 10%.
$2.
Well, I'll still get rich. When?
Right at the time of
when?
Oh,
When? Okay, don't forget. It's rare. It's not too rare. But there's so many RNAMs. There's probably 10,000 RNAMs for every NAM, which is not numcar. You see what I mean? So it means when. Okay.
When in the sense at the time?
Well, let's do it in this sentence. And when the watcher is perceived by the watcher of the watcher, it proves that there must have been somebody looking at the blue.
Watcher is perceived by watcher.
Yeah. If we can confirm, for example, if we can confirm a memory of having seen blue, there must have been the perception of blue, but there also must have been the blue. You see, this second kyap means that also confirms that the blue was there. The memory confirms that there was a perceiver of the blue, and also confirms that there was an apperception of a watcher of the watcher. But in the end, they all proved that there was a blue. Okay.
Right.
Num. When the apperception looks at the perception of the blue, okay, then at that time, say num goes with say. When, then at that time, we can also say that the blue was seen by the perception of blue. It confirms the blue. Okay?
Yeah.
2 kyaps.
Right.
Cool. So kind of the rangrek is confirmed and the blue is confirmed by the memory of seeing. If you can remember some color yesterday, you must have had a rangrek going on. And there must have been a color going on, assuming everything was a pramana. And you weren't drunk or you weren't on drugs or something like that. Okay?
I thought that's what we were trying to prove here, is the same
Approve what?
same.
No, I mean, we're assuming that it is a sema. Yeah. I mean, you could have seen blue. You can remember things that weren't there also. If you were on LSD or something, you know. Okay? I'm just pointing out that they keep saying, repeating sema for a reason. Okay? Okay. Okay, go ahead. By the way, this is kind of a bump, and then it kind of glides after that. Your text kind of glides for a while. I don't know if it's going to stay gliding, but...
Teni se chikina munzin se malangunpo yang jet kitsu to nangwa tardukna teni se tade yimparn yurwe nen chik my yimpar yuro
Okay, cool.
yuro.
This is beautiful. I mean, this is mind-only, okay? And by the way, if you should read her translation, because we threw in the sutra. We threw in a big piece of the sutra.
Sexy sutras.
Very sexy. It's like very beautiful poetry about, and every line ends with, and that's why I said it was only the mind. And we decided to throw in kind of the whole couple of, it's about a page of poetry in the footnote, yeah. And we just had one verse, but we looked at it, and what came before and what came after was very sexy, so we just threw the whole thing in the footnote. Okay, they'd say, Deni Ze Chig Yinla. At that time, those two are one stuff. What's the two?
The two being the apperception and the thing perceived.
I would say, I want to say the perception of blue and the blue. Okay? I want to say the perception of blue and the blue. Because that's what he's been trying to prove all along. And you'll see why I went there, because of the second half of the sentence. Okay? Yinla. Then soft what do you call it?
Disjunctive?
Disjunctive.
Whereas?
I'm glad I didn't bet any money.
Yet?
Yeah, soft disjunctive. Yeah, and yet, okay, or you'll see. Munjin semala ngumbo yang che kitsul du nangwa. But it seems to the perception of blue that the blue exists at a distance, right? Yang che, separated at a distance. Yang at a distance, che separated. It seems to be separated at a distance. It seems like the blue is out there, like this far away. Okay, Gang Che Tsuldu, in that way, Tsuldu, Nangwa, it appears. Tar Dubna, and if it were that way, if it really were that way, which in the mind-only school is impossible.
Yeah.
Okay, but if it really were that way, if it wasn't part of your foundation consciousness, if you weren't watching a blue inside your foundation consciousness, and it was out there at a distance, separated from you, then they would have to be zeta de.
Two different things.
Separate.
Different
Yeah,
substances.
they'd have to be different substances. Good luck. Different stuff. Okay, they'd have to be different stuff, and not made of foundation consciousness. Okay, they'd have to be different stuff, and in that case, they could never be. Plen chik mik nge. That very difficult phrase. Was it invariably found in conjunction? Okay, in that case they couldn't be, and he didn't put the nge here, but it's assumed. Plen chik mik nge, invariably found in conjunction. Okay, they couldn't be. Okay, got it? If they were not the same stuff, if they were not substantially the same thing, if the blue is not part of your mind, then not every time you have a perception of blue will you have a blue. Okay? Because it's out there somewhere. Okay, got it? You all right?
Yeah, like always see.
That's about as close as you'll ever get to. By the way, this whole conversation came out because of their rejection of the concept of
something
chirildun, outside objects. That's how this whole stuff came up. Okay, they reject outer objects. Okay, got it? Okay. Oh, here it comes. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Ben Gami, you want to take the plane? Yell at her for something, even if it's not wrong. This is a good teacher.
He done medna.
Nah, don't do that.
Hona. Rang chak nam he wong po. Hum sum lan sutra sok yang chekitsu gi suknzin ze tare par shiro bin to nangwan ni chi yin shena.
Yeah, it was perfect, Ben. I'm sorry. I'll give you somebody else later. I'll give you somebody else. She's trying too well. Chidun Mena?
If there were no outer objects.
Good, nice, perfect. If there were no outer objects, well then. Okay, assuming there's, by the way, if you're going to translate, it's probably something like, assuming there's no outer objects, well then. Because this is all part of a kachik. This is all part of somebody asking a question. Okay, let's assume there's no outer objects. It starts out like that. You're already in a quotation. Okay, let's assume there's no outer objects. Well then, Rangchaknam, us guys, is, okay, Rangchaknam, but favored by Pabong Rinpoche in his Lam Rim. Rangchaknam ki Wambung Munsum, when we have a direct sense perception, Wambung Munsum, when we have a direct sense perception, and the objects of the senses, and he lists the first two, which you should translate as visible form and sounds. Okay, visible form and sounds, to distinguish it from physical matter in general.
We say sights and sounds.
Yeah, sights and sounds is great. Sights and sounds, etc. Gyang chekitsu ki, but they do appear to exist at a distance, you know. Okay, they do appear that way, and Sungjin Zeta Depar, and it does seem that I would read this as Suk and Zin, the stuff and the holder, yeah. They do seem to be separate things, okay? And by the way, I base that on something that's coming. Okay, so you don't know, but something's coming along those lines.
So, Nangwa is it seem to be?
Yeah.
Where's an, yeah. But then they seem to be outer objects. So where's that coming from? You know, well, why? Okay, assuming you're right, and the blue is part of my own mind, my foundation consciousness. Okay, and the holder of the blue is also part of my. Assuming you're right. Well, why do we see it this other way? Okay? If it's not there, why does everybody think it's there? Where did that come from?
I mean,
Sugan
it's
comes
one of
with
those
the wheel.
seeds that we had in the words.
It's original sin. Yeah, it is. From beginningless time, we've made a mistake. And it keeps on perpetuating itself. Okay? Okay, here we go. Here's the answer to that question, which is a beautiful question, which is so cool that a Tibetan Lama would think to ask the question. Well, but But why does it seem that way? Okay.
Nam Ripe Deni,
Yeah.
Kun Chi, Nam She Kitendu to Chiro Dunangi, Bakchak, Shakpa Minbe, Nangwa Yin She Shela.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Nam Rikpa.
Self-perception, apperception, seeing itself.
Not boundary.
The
That's wrong,
mentalist.
Yeah, the mentalist. Yeah, he also hasn't used the word for a long time, and he just threw it in. But yeah, Human Dictionary is right, as usual.
So to be this,
Kind of boring Human Dictionary.
this according to,
Dictionaries are boring.
this according to the mental
Yeah, because the last word in the sentence is,
me.
oops, she,
La.
she,
Oh, she.
which means to take a position. Okay, they take the position that. Okay, so that's the verb, and the first is the subject. Okay, the mentalists take everything between is their position. What is their position? Kunshi namshi kitengdu, meaning the seed is planted in. Tengdu here means the seed is planted on or in the foundation consciousness. Okay. Kunshi namshiki tengdu. So you have the foundation consciousness, and then on top of that is shakpad abakchak, which is like jokpa.
Place.
It's placed the seed, or it's imbued a seed, it's smeared a seed, they would say. And foreseeing things as outside, okay? And then suddenly that seed, mimba, it pops open. In DCI language, it splits open. And these things come out. Okay, these appearances, things appear to be outer. Okay, where did that come from? You see, that's the next sentence. You know, I'll say, okay, it came from opening some seed, but where did the seed come from? Okay, here we go.
Deyang tokme ne kompe pakchaki wangi
Kombe,
kompe
not English. Kom,
kom
kom.
kompe pakchaki wangi
Good,
untuk detar tu nangwayinte
good,
do de yenwe
good, nice. Okay, Dean Tomene, what's Togma Mepane?
Asanga.
Togma Mepane. It's an abbreviation for Tokma Mepane,
Oh, beginningless.
for beginningless time, for time with no beginning. Tokma means the beginning, and Tokma Mepa means no beginning, for beginningless time. Okay, it's no S, it's not Toks. Okay, don't get tricked. Okay, but he was the secretary who wrote the date.
Right, that's fine.
Yeah, it's in your mind, right? Okay, so from time with no beginning, Komba.
Habituated.
Good. You have become accustomed to this bakchak, okay? This bakchak, which was created by beginningless time of getting used to something, the habit for beginningless time, okay? So you have to translate it in a way that the bakchak is the result of the komba, okay? And due to that, wangki, due to that, kuntok means
All your thoughts.
wrong thought. You see, your imagination or your...
Elaborations.
It just means you shouldn't say perception here. You gotta say something like fantasy, or, you know, that's a little too much, but imagine, or you have the idea, that's great. You have the idea. Because in English, idea means maybe false. He has some idea, I want to hurt him, but it's wrong. Okay. Yeah, so idea, okay. Not like I had a great idea, which is always correct. Okay, kuntok, so that idea, it appears that way to that kind of thinking. It appears that way to that kind of thinking due to the power of the seed, which was created by habit over beginningless time. And that's why you tend to see,
it's out.
yeah, you think things are out there, okay? It's beginningless time. How much can a DCI hour fight back from beginningless time's habit? You know, like you teach somebody the pen, but what's the chance it's going to beat the beginningless hot time seeds, you know? It's going to take a lot of pens. It's going to take a lot of pens, maybe more than 3,000. Okay. Because it's 3,000 against billions. Okay. Like you can hear it, you can understand it, but you don't really feel it. Okay. All right. I try to bring it up when I have a problem. I try to let problems trigger the idea that things are coming from me. And then every time I have a problem, it gives me a meditation on emptiness. Okay. All right. And then he quotes the
Ornament of the Sutras.
Yeah, I had a little class with Dr. Wu in Beijing, and we were talking about the 5 wisdoms of an enlightened being, because they're very sexy, because they derive from the 5 heaps, which means that the physical body of a Buddha somehow turns into their mind. And the whole teaching, the only really great teaching on it came from Mahayana Sutra Alankara, which is this book. So there are 2 alankaras in the 5 books of Maitreya. We say the 2 alankaras. The other one is the Abhisamaya Alankara. So the Abhisamaya Alankara is overstudied in the monastery. We spent 12 years on it. It's 50 pages. 75? Something like that. Depends on which book. But the Dodegen is rarely studied. Rarely studied. And maybe we should do it, someday. It would be nice. There are very few commentaries on it. People don't study it, but it's very valuable for that. And here he's using it. Okay. And I had to take a lot of notes, and I like to leave the notes in to help you. Okay. Notes means I didn't understand it the first time I read it. I had to go study. So here we go. Which takes time, and I have responsibilities downstairs. I have to write hundreds of pages of stuff. So, anyway, I'm not whining, right? Okay, please go ahead.
Sulchin, Jibe, Rimola, Tom Menme Kyang, Nangwe, Tsu Te Tar,
Good.
Yang Dakmayin Totla Nang Kun Du. Nipo me kyang taktu nangwar ngyur
Yeah.
su tar yin picture.
I'm going to add something to my notes. Yeah, okay. So, Jitar Tsushin Chiba means to write. Like Sinti, the notes, right? But here it means draw, right? In the first line, Chipa, Bris, B-R-I-S, means to, it usually means to write, but it also is the word for painting or drawing. Okay, so here it's drawing. Vimo means a drawing, okay, or a paint, usually a drawing. And Sushin, I take it to be well done. Well executed, then it can give you the impression on a 2-dimensional surface of 3 dimensions. You can see a well done drawing, you can feel perspective, right? Specifically here he calls Tomen. Tomen means like the mountain and the valley, higher and lower objects, and you feel like there's 3 dimensions there. Okay. 350 AD.
Isn't that before we got perspective in drawing?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
This is interesting.
But he's a Buddha. Okay.
I know, he's a but
Okay.
it's really interesting.
So,
You saw it coming.
Nangwa means it appears that there's 3 dimensions. Okay? It appears in the painting. If the drawing is on the table, how can the mountain in the drawing be higher than the valley in the drawing? Got it? Yeah. They're all table elevation. Okay? Nangwa itso tetar. Yanda mayan tokla. This means to thinking which is messed up. which is not pure, right? Which just means to your fantasy or to your imagination. It also means imagination or wrong idea. Okay. Nam kuntu in every way. Okay. In all respects. Even though the two don't exist, meaning the pramana which holds the blue and the blue which is outside. Okay, even though those two don't exist in that way, okay, kyang, taktu, they always look that way. They invariably look that way. Okay, as if there's a perceiver and an outside object perceived. Okay, in the same way that a good drawing, although it's flat, has perspective, has altitude. Okay, it's kind of cool. And he's using that to prove what statement?
How things.
That you could see something.
What was his last statement?
You see it in
About
perfect because
planting,
you've been
what
habituated.
seed was planted? How could you plant
Yeah,
the seed to
by beginningless time habituation. He's using Maitreya to prove his statement. Rikpe Drupche. Sorry, Lungi Drupche. Right? He's using scriptural authority. Cool. That's sexy. That's
Yeah.
really, your text is the most beautiful until we get to Seiji's. Okay.
Dear Chidun make kyang jakje te su gie par che de la yun naang mang tu your tope
Talk. Talk.
nang rik pe luk tok nu pe sherap chen yina ngar shepa te daki den lek bar shape bar jao.
Good. This is really sexy. I mean, it gets sexier and sexier.
Wow.
Dear Chidun Mekyang, so in this system, right, deer in the Semtsampa deer, Chidun Mekyang,
Although there are no
good,
outer objects.
very good. Jaje Te,
It's correct.
Oh, they
that
work.
They are.
yeah, things work. Okay, things work. It's all good. Things do things. That's a great translation. You know, things do things. It's all. There's no problem with it. Things do things, and there's no problem with that. Te meaning correct, right? And this is a fundamental concept of prasangika. But here he's talking about it with Mainoli. Gepa che ge, you would have to explain how things still work. Okay. Let's say there's no outer objects, but you're still going to have to explain how things work. You know, how can you start a car? How does the gas make the car go? You're still going to have to deal with this. You know, la. Okay, we would have to go into this subject. You know, okay, so there's no outer objects, but how does things work? How does a car get to the school? You know.
Big explanation.
Yeah, you know, mangdugyur. Tokpa means I have the fear. Okay, I am concerned. Tokpa means I am concerned. Mang.
Very.
It'd go on too long. This book would get too long. Mangdugyur, future tense.
Yeah.
It would get too long. The book would get too long. He's bailed a couple times like that.
Yeah, this is a big bail.
Yeah. But if you read his biography, he was cranking stuff in this period of his life. He wrote dozens of books in this period of time, and he really didn't have time to go into it. He didn't have space. No, the last 10 years of his life, he cranked, you know, and he, like 100 books. Crazy. So he was like, yeah, okay, you know, okay, get tope. Therefore, then he's like, namrik be loop.
The system of the mentalists.
Let's go here. If you are Shirupchen,
If you're somebody who's
You have
smart.
wisdom.
yeah, if you have the intelligence and you are nipa, able to
realize
figure out this mentalist system, you know, you should, Shepa means you should try to grasp well the points that I have explained already. So he says, I'm not going, it sounds like Phil, right? I'm not going deeper. You do your best. Those of you who have intelligence, you know, do your best to figure out what I said already, and I'm not going to pile more on you. Okay, got it? Yeah. Now comes a very, very famous, and very hot subject. Okay, very intriguing subject. Okay, here we go. As if the rest wasn't. Okay.
Samsung Bay, Rick Bay, Tupe, Chiro Dungi, Tompe, Tonite, Tarangi, Dang, Ngaki, Kyab Suong,
Cup.
Suong, Galen Gupar, J. Yapse Ki Shadow.
Good. Simsampe, the mind only. Okay, now think of emptiness and think of a gakcha. And think of emptiness expressed as the emptiness of the gakcha, the absence of the gakcha. Okay? Mm-hmm. Emptiness, the absence of the credit card in your pocket, right? The credit card is the gakcha. What's the kind of credit card I'm always talking about? Discover credit card, which is useless. That's a perfect gakcha. It's like you want to pay for dinner and you changed your pants and you don't have a credit card in your pocket, but it's a Discover credit card anyway. Mm-hmm. That Cucina Rustica wouldn't take. You see what I mean? That's perfect emptiness. Fake credit card. Unreal credit card. Okay? So anyway, what's the credit card here in this sentence so far?
Yeah, it's Rupe, Chiru, Zungi, Dongba.
Don't forget this phrase means empty of. In Tibetan you have to say empty by. Empty of.
The outer objects.
Yeah. So the credit card in this school is outer objects. The impossible thing that cannot exist. The pen that comes from its own side.
The establishment of them by your mind.
Is an outside object. Okay, say again? They have proved with their reasoning, okay? They have proved the past tense, with their logic so far in these last, 10 pages or something. It feels like 10 pages, but they have proved with their logic that they have established an emptiness where things are empty of outer objects. Okay, they have worked hard. They have given us logic. They've given us reasonings. They've given us illustrations, and they've proved that there are no outer objects. And they've established an emptiness, which is the lack of outer objects. Okay. Now, Jay Yabse.
Kids.
Yeah, Jensen Kappa and his two spiritual sons have explained, okay, that Kelen good. We're going to have to accept this in the Tangyurwe look, in the Rangyupe look, and in the Ngak look.
And in the secret. Wow, cool.
I mean, I can feel Mr. Wu's happy over there. If you're listening,
So he's been texting me.
okay, I hope you're happy because it says here, so Kappa and his two spiritual sons have said that you must accept this interpretation if you're going to appreciate Madhyamika and if you're going to understand Tantra.
Both schools.
You got to go with this no outer object thing.
What on earth?
Let's see how they explain that.
So who's
Okay.
this right now?
Choni Lama is claiming that according to Jetsun Kappa and Kedubje and Gyaltsabje, this logic which has been presented so far about why there's no outer objects, you need it when you practice Tantra. And you need it to understand middle way. Okay. Because the seed part is correct. You see? the foundation consciousness part is not correct.
Right.
But because blue can't perceive, as we said yesterday, blue is not Shipa. Blue cannot perceive anything. Blue is not alive. Blue cannot think. Okay? It cannot be foundation consciousness. You see what I mean? That's just weird. Okay? But this whole concept that the world is coming from your seeds, you guys need it. Thank you, mind only. Okay? This is Tsongkhapa. Thank you, mind only. We're going to use you when we get to Tantra. Okay? Why? Because the angel's coming from you. Because your mind is so pure. And you wore the clothes. Who was there? Yeah, you did the robes. And you see what I mean? You did your tantric practices. You planted the seeds. And you get to meet Vajrayogini because like your person sitting next to you, she's coming from you. And that's correct. And that's something we need to keep in mind or we cannot practice Tantra. Cool. Don't expect that she's waiting out there past the moon and you work hard and you get there and you meet her. She's not there. Cool?
So is the practice
Now,
what is assumed?
sorry? Oh, you mean tantric practice?
Right, at the time of...
Well, he just says in the way of the secret word. If I were going to translate it, I'd say in the way of the secret word. I'm trying not to use the word tantra anytime, anywhere, because it's so misunderstood. So I'm either saying Diamond Way nowadays. I even changed the name of the tantric courses to Diamond Way courses because people, it's so misunderstood, you know. Okay, cool. Now, I'm not satisfied with that. And so I went to find what they really said.
Yeah.
And it's a little different, okay? And I think you should know, and I think it should be in your footnote, you know, okay? So yeah, we need it, but exactly how, we're gonna go to his book where he talks about it. And I don't know how I found it. Did I find it?
You just remember.
Maybe I didn't find it. I think I did find it. Oh, no, I found the Tantra. Okay, look. How much time we have? We have any time?
We have 4 minutes.
Good, let's do, this is sexy. I mean,
Oh, do we have 9 minutes?
那ไม่คิดขับสู่อย่างเคเล่นปาดยินเตสั่งดูสาดยุเลสูงดังจินปานำปังปาเชเปจับสู่
kapsu. Kapsu.
I always read that as
Well, kyab is very common, and cup is not so common. Yeah.
ขับสู่เชจริง
It's a good mistake, actually. So, what's lame?
No higher. Yeah.
unsurpassed
Lame Nyonjor. Anuttara. Yeah. He's referring to the highest class of Tantra. Anuttara Yoga. Lame Nyonjor. Okay. Anuttara Yoga Tantra. Okay. Kapsu Yang. Even when you get to the highest class of Tantra, not just Tantra in general, but even when you get to the highest class of Tantra, Kelen. It's something we accept. Okay? It's something we accept, even in the highest school of Tantra. Why? Sangdit Sagile,
And the root tantra.
the root Tantra of Guhya Samaja, okay, in the root Tantra, which was Tsongkhapa's, it's the one he spent the most time on. Guhya Samaja, root Tantra says, Sungdan Zimban Nambangbang.
You gotta give up thinking about the out thing you see in the thing that
Reject,
sees it.
yeah, reject what is held and reject what holds it. Reject the distinction between the holder and the held. Reject the distinction. Sungdan Zimbe Kunchi. It's in the Vajrayogini Tantra.
Grasping to
The vines of the holder and what is held. Yeah, and that's a reference to the same source. Okay, and in a yoga way, what does it refer to?
The two side channels.
The two side channels. Yeah. Okay. One is mainly when prana passes through one of them, you tend to believe outer objects exist, and when prana passes through the other one, you tend to believe that the subjects of outer objects exist. Okay, and those wrap around your central channel, like the Amadeus, the medical symbol, caduceus. Yeah, and they choke it, and that's what this refers to. In Vajrayogini practice, they're called the vines, the two vines. You know, okay.
For which is subject and which is
Yeah, I was afraid you were going to ask me that.
Pingala is the objects and Ida.
I believe that's, yeah, I think that's correct. Yeah.
So this is explained in the context of.
And I think it's switched by different authors.
Oh.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, you know, I always get stuck there.
So this is explained in the context of this quotation?
Shepe Kapsu She, yeah, this topic is treated in that section of that Tantra. Okay, this topic is treated, I went and got it for you.
Thank you.
Okay, in the Kangya, right? Sorry, yeah.
So are we going to get Jade Sankapa, or are we going to do that next time? Or should
I
try
did
and
not
find it
go there,
for next
but
time?
somehow I was satisfied by what I got.
Okay.
And I don't remember. Yeah, here he quotes Jetsun Kappa.
Ah,
Here he quotes it, and it's softer. It's a softer acceptance than implied earlier. Okay, it's kind of like it would be useful to know the mind-only school's position. You know, it would assist you. But it doesn't say Kelen.
You have to.
Yeah. We still have any time?
Yes,
Yeah,
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Okay, let's go to the Tantra,
For free.
just for your edification. Let's go look at the actual quotation from the Tantra. Okay, go.
so we just want the quotation part?
Let's do the whole thing because it sets up the scene.
Dene, chondende, de chin shekpa, nampar, nang, zete, chin, shekpa tamche ki numpar tokpa, norje she jawe, tingin zin lan nyompar shukde, jangchuk zemdi sumso.
Yeah, I would be. I think this would be worth checking. Okay, just for my own, something I'd like to check. Okay, dene chomden de, den the conqueror, deshin shepa,
One that's gone.
the one gone thus, vital chana. Okay, number nangse, vital chana, the Buddha of appearances. Went into, okay, I'm going to skip to the verb. Nyomba Shuk, went into, similar to the Heart Sutra.
Yeah.
He went into meditation on the kind of meditation which we call, okay, the diamond of the realizations of every Buddha. Okay, so Vairocana went into a meditation which we call the diamond of the realizations of every Buddha. Okay, and then he said this bodhicitta. Okay, so they're calling the verse a bodhicitta. Okay, and that happens. In the Nagarjuna's wisdom, I believe the chapters are called bodhicittas, semke, or in some similar word. Okay, I believe they are. The name for a chapter is sometimes funky. Okay, but he expressed the following bodhicitta.
Cool.
Okay, ready? And here it is.
Really, is that how you would
Well, good luck. I'd have to dig around a bit, but I believe it is. If I were going to translate it, I'd say he expressed the following words that reflect bodhicitta or something like that. I wouldn't call it a bodhicitta, but I believe in prajna they are called bodhicittas. The chapters are called bodhicittas. No, they're called rabche, but there is a book where they're called semkes. I don't remember which one. Okay.
Lupo, tam, che,
By the way, I warn you in advance. You gotta get this one right. Trawa,
Trawa.
no prenasal.
It's the opposite.
Yeah.
Ngopo tamche dang jawa.
Chawa.
Pongpo kang dang keche dang sum dang nzimpa nampang ba chudak me pa nyam nipe rangsen de me makepa tompa ni ki rangseno.
Yeah, the whole thing is like beautiful emptiness poetry. And it's interesting because Adam's text becomes prophetic. Ngopo tamche dang chawa.
All working things are in their relationship.
No, free of all working things. Reality is free of all working things. Ultimate reality, devoid of all working things. Okay. By the way, this is probably Bhava, which means all things. But because to say emptiness is free of all working things is not so profound. You see what I mean? But if you say emptiness is empty of all things, then you get this kind of heart sutra exaggeration that people like in this kind of poetry. There's no pumbo, there's no kam, there's no keche.
There's no body, there's no realm,
There's no five heaps,
There's no heaps.
there's no categories, there's no doors of sense. Okay. Any connection to Yunset?
What did he really mean when he said that?
To the 7th chapter? Any connection? How does the Bodhisattva's question go?
Like
Samudgata, Paramartha Samudgata.
doing different kind of
Yeah, but first he lists 13 different categories of stuff Buddha said,
Oh.
including Pumbo, Kam, and Keche.
That do exist.
Yeah, and then suddenly said they didn't. So what's getting into you? Okay, this is the same thing. You see what I mean? There's no, everything I taught in the beginning, cancel that. Okay, it's Buddha talking. Okay, Pumbo, Kam, and also cancel,
The grasper and the grass.
yeah, meaning the blue and the holder of the blue. Cancel those two. Okay. Nice. Cheda mepa. Things are not themselves, and that's equal for all things. It's equally true of all things. Nyam nyipe. Therefore, it's pace, pas, right? Your own mind is makepa.
Never started.
Never born.
Never born, dumane. This duma means from the beginning.
This time it says
From the beginningless. This spelling, GDOD, means for time with no beginning. It's the same as Toma Mepane. It's the same, it means antiquity. For time with no beginning. Okay, ever since. Okay, your mind never started. Since forever. I like to say stuff like since forever. Okay? Because the nature of everything is emptiness. I like it. They programmed the low voice in. Okay.
2 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Last piece.
Shake Chomdende, Tang Shin, Shekpa Nampar, Nang, Zeki, Sung So.
Thus was it spoken by the Buddha whose name is Vairochana. Okay, that's making a beautiful little footnote. I think that snippet, that whole snippet, you know, he goes into this deep meditation, something, his brain is talking, and then he says it, and then they say, that's what he said. Okay, got it? We still have a minute, let's not waste it.
No, we
No,
don't.
we're over by
We're
a
at a
minute.
negative minute.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. We get the actual statement by Tsongkhapa, and we get to see if it's really what it was claimed to be. Okay, stop here. Sexy, yeah, 9.
Captain Bill is watching right now if you want to move hi to him in that camp.
Captain Bill, we love you. You're awesome. We miss you. You got to come visit and get your brain soaked in this stuff. 15th today.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thanks for all your past help. I was thinking about how many airline tickets you gave people so they could get to Diamond Mountain, etc. You're awesome. Okay. Puki Joshime Totam Rira Bingshi Minde Gempadi Sangye Shindu Minte Uargi Joku Nanda Shingla Chuparsho Idam Guru Radha Mandala Kamyatayami Di Kewo Kun Sanam Yeshe Tsokso Shing Sanam Yeshe Le Chung Wei Tampar Kunyi Topar Sho. I think at some point I decided that the left-hand channel was the holder, the Ida, the white one, and the right-hand channel was the held. Okay, I think at some point I decided that, mainly because the feminine power is considered more intuitive and more mental, and the male power is more clunky and physical. Okay, I believe after much study, I believe that's what I came up with, but that was like 15 years ago. So
It's going to be at the end in October.
cool.
Hey
Yeah.
guys, I'll just give you this one reminder this time.